Good morning. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the South Hills, also known as Sunnyhill. It's a great joy to see you here, and you've all had a good night's sleep since you slept in till 10:55. Our mission here at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. My name is Mary Jo Hennessy, and I serve as a worship associate for this congregation. And if you are a newcomer or a visitor to our congregation, please go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill. You can receive more information about our very healthy congregation and receive our weekly email newsletter called The Beat, which is delivered promptly on Wednesdays, just once a week. And it provides all the information you need to know about what's going in within our walls and how we extend our mission beyond our walls. And if you are joining us online today, hello to you as well. Please say hello or good morning in the comments in Facebook or YouTube. We'd like to hear from you, and a warm good morning to you as well. We welcome children of all ages. Hi. For quiet play, we have a children's area here in the sanctuary. For louder activities, we have a nursery just outside the corner entrance to the sanctuary. And we also have a comfort room, accessible through the back hallway from which you can hear and see the service. And now a gentle reminder to everyone, let's silence those cell phones and other electronic devices, please, so we may have our service uninterrupted by buzzing or ringing, be here in this space together for this time. And now we're going to go slightly out of order. I'm going to introduce Alicia from the Autonomous Body Shop, and she's going to tell us more right now about our designated offering for the month of December. We'll have the offering later, but here's Alicia.
Hey everybody, my name is Alicia Ott, and I'm really happy to be here today. I was invited to come from Emily and Vivian, who I think they run it, part of the Reproductive Justice Committee that you guys have here at the church. We got connected because we made abortion care kits together, and so to tell you a little bit about my organization, it's called the Autonomous Body Shop. For short, it's the Auto Body Shop. We are not mechanics, but we do need some mechanics because we operate out of a van, and they're 30-year-old Astro vans. So as you can imagine, they've got some issues. You might have seen the van outside. This one's kind of more like a champagne color. We have a few different ones. But what we do is we provide free info and supplies for reproductive, sexual health, abortion care, and harm reduction. So we have things like emergency contraception, Narcan, condoms, pregnancy tests, fentanyl and xylazine test strips. We recently have started to accumulate and distribute menstrual supplies and also diapers, postpartum care, things like that. But yeah, we take the van to different events, different places, and try to create community with people like you, and with the goal being that we would like everybody to have the info, supplies, resources, to be the go-to friend in your community, in your friend groups, in your networks, your neighborhoods. So you don't need to know everything, but if you have some resources on hand, maybe a button, a sticker, some swag, you can let the world know that you're a safe person to talk to about these things. So yeah, like I said, everything's free. And then the last thing I'll say is we also have a pit stop program where we get those info and supplies into places like coffee shops, bookstores, tattoo shops, nail, hair salons, things like that. I don't think we have any locations around this area. So if you know of any place or there's a place that you love that might be a good fit, please tell them to look us up or you can connect us. I think that's pretty much it. We are going to, I do have to head out after this, but I am going to leave some of our info and supplies on the table out there. So feel free to take it, and our contact information is there if you need anything else in the future. So thank you all so much. Thank you.
And we will be taking the offering a little later, as we normally do. And today's sermon is titled Choosing Hope. Cynicism may be understood as an attempt to protect oneself from the heartache of unfulfilled hopes. While it may be effective in the short term, cynicism ultimately leads nowhere. But how do we go about choosing hope in what seems like a hopeless time? Our opening words were written by Nathan Ryan. Be it real or metaphor, whatever is in your backpack or your briefcase or your purse that you've brought into this sanctuary that is weighing you down, leave it behind. Whatever you are carrying that is keeping you distracted or caught up in shame or guilt or hopelessness, leave it behind. If you need it, it'll be there when we're done. But for this hour, just let it go. Come into this place with open hearts. Come into this place with a soul that has remembered how to be tender again. Come into this place with a renewed hope for this world, one world, our world. Come into this place ready to build a world we've always been worthy of and have always dreamed of. Let us now please say the words together to light our chalice. In the bleak and cold winter, we gather ourselves to light the fire, to warm our spirits, and to kindle the flame of love and hope.
Good morning. Please rise and bow to your spirit to join in singing our opening hymn, Joy in the Morning. We'll find joy in the morning, joy. Find hope in our children. We find hope in our children. Hope in our children. Hope in our children. In our children, we find hope. We find strength in each other. We find strength in each other. Strength in each other. Strength in each other. In each other, we find strength. There is love all around us. There is love all around us. Love all around us. Love all around us. All around us. There is love all around. All around us. There is love. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning, friends. It is now our time for all ages. If there are any kiddos present that want to come up and have a seat, now's your chance. Good morning, friends. So good to see so many faces this morning. Sleepy faces. All right, let's get settled in for our story. This story comes from our own UU history and is about the brilliant, modest, and still little known, inspirational UU Lewis Latimer, who literally created light for us. The son of escaped slaves, Latimer became one of the first African American inventors and helped found the Unitarian Church in Flushing, New York. So let's hear his story. Once upon a time, not too long ago, there was a boy named Lewis Latimer. Lewis didn't grow up with everything handed to him. In fact, life was often very hard. His parents had escaped from slavery, and when he was little, his family sometimes had to move from house to house just to stay safe. Even though Lewis didn't get to go to fancy schools, he loved to learn. He drew, he tinkered, he dreamed. And when he was only 16, he joined the Navy by lying about his age because he wanted to help fight for freedom during the Civil War. When he came home, he found a job at a law office that worked with inventions. At first, he was just the office boy, the kid who swept floors and ran errands, but Lewis had hope. He watched carefully, learned how to draw technical designs, and practiced late at night with tools he bought himself. Slowly but surely, he became so good at drawing inventions that he rose all the way to being the head draftsman. But even then, he wasn't paid as much as the white workers. He could have given up. He could have decided it wasn't fair. And it wasn't, but instead, Lewis kept choosing and making hope with his own hands and heart. One day, Lewis helped Alexander Graham Bell design the very first telephone. Later, he worked on the electric light bulb. Has anyone here ever heard of Thomas Edison? Yeah, some of our bigger kids have. Yeah, anyone out there heard of Thomas Edison? He's pretty well known. Well, Edison's first light bulbs burned out after just a couple days. Not very helpful. But Lewis figured out how to make the filaments, the parts inside the bulb, last much, much longer. Because of him, light bulbs became something ordinary families could actually use. Think about this. The reason we can turn on a lamp in our homes today is partly because Lewis Latimer never gave up, and because he chose hope where others only saw problems. But here's something important. Most history books didn't include his name because of the color of his skin. Even though he helped change the world, many people ignored him. Yet, Lewis kept on shining. He wrote poems, played music, painted pictures, and even helped start the Unitarian Church in Queens, New York. His portrait still hangs there today. Lewis once wrote about electric light. Like the light of the sun, it beautifies all things on which it shines, and is no less welcome in a palace than in the humblest home. What I love about the story is how it reminds us that hope doesn't just appear. We don't just find it lying around like seashells on the beach. Hope is something we make, something we choose, together and inside ourselves. Lewis made hope by working hard, by believing in his dreams, and by sharing his light with others. If he could do that, so can we. Every time we help someone, every time we imagine a better future, every time we create something new, we are making hope. So next time you flip a light switch, remember Lewis Latimer, the man who helped bring light into the world, and who shows up that hope is not only found, but made. And with that, we will head to our RE class. Kids in grades 4 and up, go straight across the hall. Younger kids downstairs. Let's sing the kiddos out.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go.
to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. There is hurting in my family. There is sorrow in my town. There is panic all across the nation. There is wailing the whole world round.
Sing it with us.
I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly. May the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though they burn our eyes. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mighty yoke to hold my confusion. Give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder. Give me an ocean to hold my tears. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change.
This is the part of our service where we share joys and sorrows that have been submitted by members of the congregation. Joys and sorrows may be submitted online through a link on our website or a link in our email newsletter, The Beat, or you may fill out a form in our entranceway. After each joy or sorrow that I share, please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." A sorrow from Nancy Ritzko. Nancy says, "Remember all who died at Pearl Harbor on this day, December 7th, in 1941. For those who died, their families and friends, we hold you in our hearts." A joy from Mart Rodriguez and Catherine Palmer. They say, "Our oldest son, Eric, is getting married to a wonderful woman in Minnesota on December 20th. To Mark, Catherine, and family, we hold you in our hearts." A joy from me. It was a great joy to participate in last night's One World holiday celebration at Sunnyhill. Many thanks to the dozens of Sunnyhill members and friends who worked together to make this happen, and special thanks to lead organizers Elizabeth Mortimer and Ann Trondle Price, who are leading the event for the last time. For all who are involved in the One World event, we hold you in our hearts. A joy from Doug Reichenfeld. Doug says, I have a joy to work every day with the youth of our community as the orchestra director at Mount Lebanon. This Thursday evening at 8 o'clock, our Symphony of 150 will perform a concert which will include the Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto, as well as other classical and holiday favorites. Many of our own youth group members will be performing. I hope many can attend. For Doug and all of our Mount Lebanon High School musicians, we hold you in our hearts. And a final joy, again from me. It was a great joy to participate in the weekly vigil outside the Pittsburgh ICE headquarters this past Friday, along with 15 to 20 other Sunnyhillers and many others. Supporting immigrants has never been more important than it is now. Many thanks to everyone who showed up in the 15-degree weather to participate in this important act of prophetic witness. To everyone who takes part in these vigils, we hold you in our hearts. As we sing our musical meditation, we invite anyone who feels moved to do so to come forward, light a candle, place it in the sand, and then return to your seats.
I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. Finding now. Finding my way. Finding now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I
Please join me in the spirit of meditation or prayer. How easy it is to feel lost in the darkness of the world, especially now when light is hard to come by, when cold winds blow, when days are shorter and nights are longer, when the bounty of autumn is eclipsed by winter's emptiness, when hope grows thin amid despair, how easy it is to feel lost. And so it is we gather together here today that we might find our way back to our best and truest selves, that we might find our way back to beloved community for all, that we might find our way back to now just as it is. Let us pause for a moment of silence to regain our equilibrium and to regain our bearings as we find our way back to now. May we find the light of hope amid the darkness of despair. May we find the warmth of love amid the coldness of fear. And may we find our way back to now, to this moment of peace, to this moment of love and solidarity again and again and again. Amen. When I was in seminary, I took a preaching class called Preaching as If You Mean It that was taught by former UUA president and former executive director of Amnesty International, Bill Schultz. In his teaching, Bill drew upon decades of hands-on experience in the parish setting and in the world of denominational and nonprofit leadership. His approach to preaching, as I recall it, was straightforward and pragmatic, mostly having to do with focusing on just one main point you want to get across and then illustrating the point in several ways, using not just exposition, but also poetry, cultural references, and lots of stories, because stories are what people remember when they've forgotten everything else. One of the first assignments in Bill Schultz's preaching class was for each student to articulate their personal doctrine of hope, their personal philosophy or beliefs around the idea of hope. He believed that it was not possible to be successful as a preacher without some doctrine of hope. He illustrated his point with this story, which I tell in his words. If a preacher can't articulate a doctrine of hope, they are no better than the Catholic priest who one day began Mass in the customary way, saying, "Peace be with you," and the people responded, "And with you." "The Lord be with you," and the people responded, "And with you." And then in mid-sentence with the next sentence, the priest noticed that his mic wasn't working and said, "Christ be with," "Sorry, but there's something wrong with this microphone." And the people said, "And with you." As Bill Schultz said, there's something wrong with a preacher who lacks a sense of hope. But at that time in my seminary experience, believe it or not, I was firmly in the anti-hope camp. I believed that hope was something that was invented to keep people with privilege from taking real and meaningful action in the world. And I said as much to Schultz during the class, much to his dismay. I believed at that time that hope was something that people used basically as an excuse to keep from doing difficult things. After all, if you have hope that everything is going to be just fine in the long run, why bother taking any action against oppression and injustice? Just hold on to your hope and all will be well. But as I subsequently learned, that's not what hope is. Hope is not baseless optimism, nor is it blissful, empty-headed wishing. Hope is something that is created by people who have faced reality squarely, who have grieved what is lost, and who have then chosen to act in such a way as to bring hope into the world. And hope in this sense is more often found in places where people have suffered than it is to be found in places of privilege and safety from suffering. During my first year of seminary, the same year when I took that preaching class, I worked 5 mornings a week at a men's homeless shelter where I learned a lot, not just about the lives of these men, but also about how we, as a society, regard and behave toward those who are marginalized. We do not treat them well. And over the past year, we have seen how those on the bottom rungs of the economic ladder in our society have been even further marginalized. Perhaps what impressed me most about the men at this homeless shelter is what they taught me about both the resilience of the human spirit and the great human longing to move toward healing and wholeness. Despite the odds against them, despite their dire circumstances, despite the terrible experiences that many of them had had over the course of their lives. Yet, even with all of the challenges that they were facing, many of these men still managed to find hope and faith and even joy, and to share it with others, including me. During that year, I learned that if you really want to see what hope looks like, a hope that really means something and is not mere optimistic nonsense, you need to go to places where people have suffered and are suffering still. Places where people who are marginalized and oppressed gather and, having faced the reality of their situation and grieved their losses, have chosen hopeful action. In some ways, my previous attitude about hope, that it was a Pollyanna-ish excuse for inaction among the privileged, was itself a symptom of my own privilege. Because I dwelt in the world of privilege and comfort for most of my life, I failed to see hope as an absolute necessity for those who dwell on the margins, for those who suffer, for those who are most in need of healing and wholeness. At any rate, eventually, I came around to something like Bill Schultz's way of thinking about hope, much to his relief. I was reminded of these seminary experiences when I read a recent article in Sojourners magazine by peace activist Marian Sarkeesian Ramon Pareja. She writes, "We live in a time when many good, kind-hearted people look out at the world and feel hopeless. They see war, polarization, hunger, and ask, what can I do? What can one person possibly do? This often leads to a feeling of paralysis, silence, a deep ache that never quite translates into action. And yet, she says, I believe that doing something is better than doing nothing, because systems of oppression and violence don't just thrive on power, they also thrive on silence. They grow stronger every time a well-meaning person chooses inaction over imperfect action. Pareja goes on, what I've been wrestling with is this. Perhaps the work of this moment is not to indict each other into action, but to call one another to anchor our actions in hope. Not the kind of hope that distracts or glosses over pain, but the kind of hope that rebuilds agency, the kind of hope that tells the truth about the bleakness of the world, but still insists that something can be done about it. We've entered into the Christian liturgical season of Advent, a time in which we are meant to ponder such questions as where do we find light amid the darkness, and where do we find hope amid a time of hopelessness? Winter holidays such as Christmas and Hanukkah do not occur during the winter by accident. They occur during the bleakest time of the year so that we might consider these questions seriously in order to find our own answers and our own way to make sure that light and hope live through us and not despite us. To remind ourselves and one another to choose perseverance and hopeful action rather than despair that keeps us stuck in a cycle of inaction. Hope is something that is created and chosen again and again. It is not something that is stumbled upon like a four-leaf clover or a lucky penny. But there are certainly times when hope is hard to come by, times when it seems that despair is the only available option. Author Dougal Robertson survived the harrowing experience of being lost at sea, adrift in a life raft for 37 days with his wife and 4 children before finally being rescued. Robertson wrote a book about what he and his family learned through these experiences, titled simply Sea Survival, a Manual. For the most part, Robertson's book is filled with practical advice and tips for survival. But nestled in among these practical suggestions are some useful philosophical ponderings and ideas, including the following passage, which describes what you might do when you find yourself feeling cast away in a sea of despair, far from any hopeful harbor. Robertson writes, I have no words to offer which may comfort the reader who is also a castaway, except that rescue may come at any time, but not necessarily when you expect it, and that even if you give up hope, you must never give up trying. For as a result of your efforts, hope may well return, and with justification. Those words of Robertson's stand up and light up for me. Even if you give up hope, you must never give up trying, for as a result of your efforts, hope may well return, and with justification. Hope is created in those moments when we keep trying after having given up all hope. It seems counterintuitive, as many pieces of wisdom do. Another great writer on the topic of hope is the musician and author Nick Cave, who survived the death of 2 of his children over the past 10 years. Cave's 15-year-old son Arthur died in a fall from a cliff in 2015, and his eldest son Jethro died in 2022 at age 31 as a result of a drug overdose. Cave describes himself as having been a cynical person prior to these 2 terrible losses, which somehow turned him eventually toward hope. Cave writes, "Much of my early life was spent holding the world and the people in it in contempt. It was a position both seductive and indulgent. The truth is," he said, "I was young and had no idea what was coming down the line. I lacked the knowledge, the foresight, the self-awareness. I just didn't know. It took a devastation," Cave says, "to teach me the preciousness of life and the essential goodness of people. It took a devastation to reveal the precariousness of the world, of its very soul, to understand that it was crying out for help. It took a devastation to understand the idea of mortal value, and it took a devastation to find hope." Cave goes on to write, "Unlike cynicism, hopefulness is hard-earned, makes demands upon us, and can often feel like the most indefensible and lonely place on earth. Hopefulness is not a neutral position either. It is adversarial. It is the warrior emotion that can lay waste to cynicism." He says, "Each redemptive or loving act, as small as you like, keeps the devil down in the hole. It says the world and its inhabitants have value and are worth defending. It says the world is worth believing in. In time, we may come to find that it is so." It's interesting to me that people who write about hope most profoundly are people who have been through some things, people who have spent some time in unimaginable depths of despair and hopelessness. Knowing what Dougal Robertson survived, knowing what Nick Cave lived through, gives their words more resonance and depth, as well as credibility. And Cave's words ring especially true for me. Each redemptive or loving act says the world and its inhabitants have value and are worth defending. It says the world is worth believing in, and in time we come to find that it is so. In those final words, we hear echoes of Robertson's advice: even if you give up hope, you must never give up trying, for as a result of your efforts, hope may well return. If today Bill Schultz were to ask me to describe my doctrine of hope, I would not sidestep the question or argue against hope as a useful concept. Instead, I would say that in the face of despair, hope is what reminds us that doing something is better than doing nothing. Hope is an antidote to cynicism, and perhaps most importantly, hope is something that is created amazingly in those moments when we keep trying after we have given up all hope. In short, I would say my doctrine of hope is not really a doctrine at all, but rather a lived experience, a testament to the power of small, loving acts that, taken together, create a kind of hope that exceeds anything we could possibly imagine. During this holiday season and throughout the rest of the year, I hope and pray that we will live in such a way as to bring the light of hope into our lives and into the life of our often despairing world. May it be so. Amen. The hymn we're about to sing, traditional Advent song, O Come, Emmanuel, has its origins in a text from the book of Isaiah. Emmanuel is a Hebrew word meaning God with us or God among us. And the tune dates back to an 11th century Franciscan plain song chant, so this tune has been sung for at least 1,000 years. Those of you who grew up singing this hymn and other faith traditions will probably notice that some of the words may be different from what you're used to, as is frequently the case with hymns when they show up in different cultural or faith tradition contexts. In this case, I think that the changes actually do make it a stronger and richer hymn, and the text emphasizes one of the central messages of the season of Advent, that this is a good time of year to make room in our hearts and minds for love, truth, light, and hope.
Our translation was written by Reverend Mark Bellatini, who served on the committee for this hymnal, for Singing the Living Tradition, but he's not credited in here, so I like to shout out his name when I can. Please rise and body your spirit to sing this hopeful Advent hymn.
O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to our exiles here, and to the aching heart bid cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. Oh, come, you splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. Oh, come and turn our hearts to peace, that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell. Oh, come, you day spring, come and cheer our spirits by your presence here, and dawn in every broken soul as vision that can see the whole. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as light to dwell. Oh, come, you wisdom from on high, from depths that hide within a sigh, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act of prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as hope to dwell.
Thank you. Please be seated.
It is time for our offering, and we learned earlier our Share the Plate beneficiary for December is the Autonomous Body Shop. And just in case you arrived a little bit late, it is a mobile reproductive rights support organization Working out of their autonomous body shop van, they provide free information and supplies for reproductive health, abortion care, and harm reduction in the community. You can make a gift online on our website or by text at 412-324-3130. We'll be passing our offering baskets for cash and checks in just a moment. And if you are writing a check, please make it out to UUCSH and put "Share the Plate" in the memo line. And as always, thank you for your generosity. Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Just a couple of reminders. Next week, between services, we will have our annual congregational meeting to vote on our budget for 2026. All of you who are members were sent via email a copy of that budget earlier this week. So that will be between the 9 o'clock and 11:15 services at 10 a.m. We do need to have a quorum of 30% of all members present, so if you can attend, please do. Also, in coming weeks, on December 17th, that's a Wednesday evening, we'll have our longest night service, which is a service for people who may have grown tired of all of the Christmas carol music that you hear every year around this time, and just want to be in a quiet place where we can sit with our actual real feelings together. Then on Sunday, December 21st, 2 weeks from today, there will be just one service at 10 o'clock a.m. Wednesday, December 24th is our Christmas Eve services at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. And then on December 28th, we will not have an in-person service as the Sunnyhill staff will all be asleep on our couches. But we will stream a pre-recorded service at 11:15 on the 28th. For now, we'll close with these words. Let us go forth into the world through a door of hope for the future, remembering these words by Martin Luther. Even if I knew that tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I would still plant my apple tree. So may it be with us and may we go in peace.